Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Motivation to use only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. You're on step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I am Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner, my 7B bald, beautiful, benevolent brother, the coach in the building tonight. Glad you guys joined us. We got Shawnee. He'll be with us shortly, and I think Dante may join us for the second half of the show. But again, good to have you with us again, as we certainly, this football playoff season, both in college and the NFL, is certainly taking center stage, and certainly a lot of action that's going on. And speak of the Angel, my guy Shawnee is certainly in the building tonight. Good to have you guys here once again. Make sure when you come in tonight, hit the like button. Certainly helps our algorithm, and consider becoming a subscriber to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Different shows throughout the week, all different types of content. So please be sure to join us. Also, certainly you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, you can consider giving the channel a Cash App or a super chat. You see the Cash App for Black Man Unfiltered scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And again, you can always give a Cash App certainly to the channel. Anything that you certainly want to do for us personally, we'd appreciate. Our Cash Apps are also scrolling at the bottom of the screen. But certainly, again, once good to have you guys. Just want to take the temperature of the room before we go forward. So I'll start with the coach. How are you doing, sir? What's going on?
So, fellas, how y'all doing, man? Yeah.
Doing all right. I can't see it. Your neck is invisible. It's like you like the Invisible Man. You just put the. What's going on with you, sir? How you doing?
Hey, man, just happy to be here, man. You know, Wednesday, man, and just, I don't know, man, just got some anxiety. I'm excited about some stuff, so
I got
salute to y'all, man. I'm just here today, man. Let's get
I'll be waiting for the praise report. I'll be waiting for it. But Shawnee, how you doing, sir?
Everything good over here, man. Glad to see another week. Well, we already halfway through January.
Yeah. Years. I don't know if the years are speeding up or what. I have no idea. But before we get started, gentlemen, I want to go back and revisit. So I know we talked about it last week with the banner that we had, but I still got some things here. I just need to kind of get off my chest a little bit. First of all, I'm looking at this here. Now, one thing. Now, I am 6'3". How tall are you, Shawnee?
I'm 5'10".
5'10". Now, Coach grew, because you told me you were 5'9". You swore for up and down. You were 5'9". You telling me now?
Hold up, I said 5'9 3/4 to be exact. Right? To be exact. Maybe my tape measure might have been bent, but I did it today just to make sure. So I'm like 2 centimeters off.
Okay. With the hat on. All right, now Shawnee. Now you know Dante personally. So how tall is he roughly?
Dante is about 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, he look like
6'6". Okay, so looking at this picture here, you and Dante look like y'all should be doing security for us, like the boxers, in the ring, or the rappers or something like that. Y'all should be working security, because you guys are huge. If I'm 6'3", and you guys look like 6'8", in those pictures, 350 or whatever. So I'm just saying. Y'all should go into business and start a security group or something like that, because you guys are huge in these pictures, man. I'm just saying. I like my arms, but BMU, you got to put some height on me, man. Like I'm looking. Wait a minute, I'm standing right next to Coach. And I'm shorter than me in the picture. I was about to say, I was like, wait a minute, and I'm the tallest guy here. But you got Dante looking dangerous, though, right? For real, though.
Suge Knight, man. He look like Suge Knight.
That's going to be his nickname. Go for it, Suge. Oh man.
At least put me and Shiny the same height, man. You got me with baby shoulders, little bit.
Yeah, but look, he's huge. So you and Shawnee the same height, and he's just dwarfing over you, man. Like he just pick you up and put you in a bear hug and tap you out.
I just figure I must be closer to the camera. I'm closer to the camera.
I don't know, man.
So what's that, optics or whatever, maybe look bigger because I'm closer to the lens.
I'm just saying, but I was like, man, you and Dante are some imposing figures in this picture. I was just like, wait a minute. Me and Coach, I know we close, man, but definitely we met up.
His form is longer than my arm.
Oh, look at this. Okay. All right, we upgraded. We upgraded. Hang on, I like that shot.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's an upgrade right there. Okay, I can live with that.
Oh,
I can live with that.
But
you have to maybe a little more height
on
on Dante needs a little bit. If he's 6'2", 6'3", he needs to be up there just a little bit more than that. But I like that. I like that. So we can talk about that next time. But again, shout out to BMU. He's always having us looking our best and whatnot. We appreciate the work that he does behind the scenes to make sure that this show goes smoothly. So appreciate, certainly appreciate, all he does for the channel. But yeah, man, let's get into this. So, I'm going to kind of steer, I guess, this first section of the show, and shout out to our guy, Trey, that called it. Harbaugh and Tomlin both got their walking papers. Absolutely. So we're kind of, going to get into that a little bit. So first of all, I want to, say, for all the years, 19 years, thank you, Coach Tomlin, certainly for your work with the Steelers. I know it was not always pleasant and whatnot with the fans, and I have mixed emotions about it, quite frankly, but, let's give the man some flowers while he's here. So again, as the big news coming out of the playoff weekend, Mike Tomlin stepping down as the Steelers coach after 19 seasons with the same team. More than likely, you probably never see that again. He's one of the last guys, like Don Shula. I know he was with Miami for all those years and whatnot, so you're not going to see those kind of tenures certainly in the near future. But Steelers, they're kind of an old school kind of franchise. They run things a little bit differently. And the owner, he had a press conference today, and he said that basically if Mike still wanted to coach, he would let him. Now, I thought initially they did this kind of Sicilian style, like from the Godfather movie. You kind of leave the knife in the room, and then you walk out, and then you let the guy slit his own wrist or something like that. So I thought that's kind of what happened with this. But the owner, he said today that if he wanted another season, he would have given it to Mike Tomlin. But it was Tomlin's decision, certainly to step down. And I think certainly the fan base or whatnot, I think they were at their wits' end with his performance also. But again, as far as his record with the Steelers, so again, Steelers, known for keeping coaches for a long time. So 3 coaches in the last 56 years. 1969 when Coach Noel came in, and so 6 championships overall. So again, we all know the stats. 19 seasons without a losing record, and so certainly those are great accolades. But again, I got to be fair. I'm not going to be a Yinzer when it comes to his accolades. Yes, I certainly acknowledge what he's done. Also, a very classy individual, never a scandal with the team and whatnot, respected by everyone in the NFL. He was on the coaches committee or the competition committee. So again, well respected in the league. Not sure what he wants to do after this. Now, some people saying he may want to, he's a hot coaching prospect. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if he wants it. I mean, if he goes into TV, which was rumored, he may go into TV because everybody, when Bill Cowher retired, everyone swore up and down that he was going to get a coaching job right away. But once he got on TV, he was like, this is a whole lot easier. I don't have to travel. I don't have that stress. And, certainly he never went back to coaching. And who's to say that Mike, he's got his Super Bowl ring, whatnot. I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. If not, certainly right away, he'll get in eventually. Most coaches with his kind of resume do. And I expect the same thing. Here. But, who's to say that he's going to, because I think one thing about his record overall, especially in the playoffs, is I think he can certainly change a culture. I don't know if he can necessarily win the big ones. And this next slide here, I mean, you got to look at, you got to be fair with the record. 8-12 playoff record overall. 7 straight playoff losses. Same thing with Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis was a very successful coach with the Bengals, but again, I don't think he had any playoff wins. If I'm not mistaken, he got his team to the playoffs, but he never won a playoff game. And after some time, that matters. When you have a franchise like the Steelers, tied with the Patriots for the most Super Bowls, that's what that fan base is used to. And you haven't performed. And the thing that really, to me, is the indictment, because in the recent years, a lot of people have been saying, well, they haven't had a quarterback, which is true. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky and Duck Hodges and Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph, I mean, certainly not household names by any means, but even when he had the killer bees, he's got some bad losses on his resume. In 2015, he lost to Tim Tebow in the playoffs. I'm sorry, you can't do that. Then the team that was projected like as a Super Bowl favorite in 2017, you get a first round bye, you lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't even remember who the quarterback was for that team. And you give up 52 points to that team.
Was it Blake Bortles?
Bortles, yeah. Who's not in the league. I mean, he never did anything. So, again, he's had some very tough playoff losses. But the thing that really annoyed me, and I was saying this, I think, on last week's show, when was the last time I've seen the Steelers with an easy win? A win. It's like every game. It didn't matter if the team was 1-15 or if the team was 15-1. Every game was like a squeaker for several years. And like I said, in some teams he lost to, he had no business losing to. Because in his mind, he has this idea that, well, I respect all my opponents and those guys get paid too. And yet I'm like, no, there's certain teams you should be able to go into and you should just be better than. And even when he had the killer bees, he had some awful losses. Like I said, the Tebow loss is, for me, the biggest one, because that broke my heart. I mean, you made Tebow look like a superstar. And you just cannot do that at this level. So I think the Steelers were more than patient and gracious for giving him the long tenure. I kind of agree a little bit with Trey as far as, that he was fired. But again, I just think, again, they did it Sicilian style. It's like, here's the knife, and I'm going to walk out the room, and then you do what you do. But just get some of the chats in. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate, certainly the man, but you got to judge someone certainly by the performance. Obviously, 8-12, certainly there. As far as this Hall of Fame with a losing playoff record, yeah. But I mean, look, certainly, if Tom Flores got in, there's other coaches that got. I think he'll get in. Certainly the same. Cowher, he has some bad losses also, and some losing seasons. He didn't necessarily leave on the last. Now, his wife died of cancer. I think that was several years after he left the game. I don't think that was, certainly he didn't leave. That wasn't the reason I think he left. But but again, Tomlin never fixed the quarterback situation with Big Ben. I'm saying even when he had Big Ben, he lost games that he shouldn't have lost. He had Big Ben when he lost to Tim Tebow, a Hall of Famer, losing to a guy who couldn't get a job in the league afterwards. He couldn't beat him. So again, I have to call it straight. It was very frustrating, and it got to a point where I stopped watching games just because of the stress. I mean, literally, my stress levels were off the roof, because it's like, man, I just want to have this game wrapped up in about the fourth quarter, 6 minutes left. You take your players out, and you close it out. So again, I'm not upset about the firing. Like I said, I'll call it that. But certainly, I think that certainly And I don't know if it's just his coaching style or philosophy or whatever. He always talked about he doesn't like comfort. Well, I think comfort's good sometimes. You should have a comfortable win. But every win just had to be this battle and to the death. Even his Super Bowl win. His win took one of the greatest, and I say this, that Super Bowl catch by Santonio Holmes is the greatest catch in Super Bowl history. End of the game, 3 guys on him in the corner, toe tapping the end zone for the winning score. So I'll give him that, but he needed that kind of thing. They were up 20-7 in that game and gave up the lead, and then they had to have that drive at the end of the game, that 2-minute drill, in order for him to get that Super Bowl win. And then again, Green Bay, losing to them, So again, certainly a spotty record, but again, I think he has enough. He's tied with Chuck Noll for the most wins in Steelers history with 193. So I think he's going to get in first ballot. I'm not sure about that, but I think he will get in at some time eventually. All right. So again, he didn't lose the game, but he's still the coach of the team. I'm just saying, certainly the Tebow game. Again, where was the offense then for that game? So it's one or the other. It's like the offense didn't show up, or the defense didn't show up, or you saw the last game, the defense did their job first half, 7-6 at the half. Going into the third quarter, you're only down 10-6, and then the wheels came off, and your offense couldn't do anything. So so I think it was certainly some people said this should have happened a few years ago, maybe so, but I have no issues with this. So that's my opening sort of salvo on this. So you guys can certainly chime in and give your thoughts on Tomlin, and then we can get into the next subject, concerning Tomlin. But Coach, if you want to chime in, I think I've said pretty much all I need to say on the subject. But long story short, I'm satisfied. I think this is the right move, and on to the future. But what do you think?
Give a shout out to Tomlin, man. Longest tenured coach in major sports history, and with one team, and salute to him, man. Football, it is what it is. It's played on the field, not from the coach's booth, not from the fan stands. It's played on the field, and that's why I love the game so much, because you can be winning 1 minute, momentum shift, you find yourself going home, and that's the beauty of it. The fact that he was able to do what he did when minority coaches one time was a big thing about the future of the NFL. The fact that he was able to stay so long at a team and always be in competition to go to the playoffs, it speaks a lot about his team and how he ran it, whether they won the playoffs or not, because we still trying to get the Cowboys to the playoffs every year, and nobody says anything when they don't make it. It's just getting there. But to him, man, salute, man. I think his future's bright. I think he's going to step back a year, maybe. I don't think he's done coaching, but it's interesting to see, and I'll say this about Pittsburgh, and I shut up. It's going to be interesting to see how they move forward, because Pittsburgh could be in for some long, dark years if they don't draft right.
Gotcha. Shawnee?
Yeah, Tomlin, he was a hell of a coach. It's just, obviously, he spent 19 years in the organization. Ultimately, your voice is going to be time for a new voice. That's unheard of. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a head coach. The only one that was close to him was the one who's also fired, and that was Harbaugh.
Yeah, Harbaugh, and before him, like I said, you had like Don Shula. I don't think I don't know if the Dolphins fired him or he just retired, but he was like, that's the last coach who had like lifetime tenure, and I don't know why, because he didn't win a championship since '73. He went back-to-back, 72, 73. He went one more time in 84, and he was there all the way through like the 90s and still. So he was going to die the coach of the Dolphins, but it's a totally different model and a totally different ownership. But Shula's the last thing that I can hear, that I can compare to is Shula.
Yeah, I think he's older. I think Andy Reid Andy Reid's probably the only head coach pretty much in the NFL now. His organization probably just give him a lifetime contract. You coach
Yeah,
until
sure.
you decide to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And he can y'all hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Tomlin was a good coach. Hall of Fame, I think he'll ultimately get in. I believe he already mentioned that he's not planning on coaching in 26. He's going to take a year off. He may take the Sean Payton route, which I think would be a wise thing to do.
Yeah.
Sit back, enjoy yourself for a year, but at the same time, you Mike Tomlin. So you go, and just like how Sean Payton was, he was able to find the situation that's best fit him. And if you go let that team know, hey, I may potentially be looking at your organization, if it's possible, unless they didn't renew their contract with their current coach, or they're gonna be moving mountains to try to get you there. You know, so he get to choose his next situation. Just
that's the only thing. I don't know if he does. I think he'd be good. He can make a bad team good. I don't know if he can make a good team great.
Well, I think if you pair him, because Omar Khan is a GM, you heard a critique about him. So I think if you pair him with a real good GM, and they able to, one, do a better job at finding a quarterback, and just how they handle the roster better, I think once you give Tomlin the players, he can handle the rest.
But he's had them. Like I said, the Killer Bee era.
He's had them, but
his
biggest thing was the quarterback. That was his biggest, for whatever reason. And also, one thing I did notice, because normally a coach who has coached as long as Tomlin, normally they will have a nice sized tree. And I was looking at it, I'm like, Tomlin don't really have a good coaching tree.
Nah,
Tomlin's
he came from the Tony Dungy tree, but not much.
Yeah, his most popular, his most successful coach that was on his staff was Bruce Arians, and everybody else is literally names not even.
Well, no, who's is that that's the Cardinals coach, right? Or no?
Yeah, he went to the Cardinals. Then
he went to the Cardinals, and they played in the Super Bowl. Yeah,
with Brady in Tampa Bay, and Bruce Arians was a good head coach, and that's it for Tomlin. Normally, right now Harbaugh, he has a nice young head coach right now who's starting off good, and Mike McDonald up in Seattle, and then he has some other people, but you would just think Tomlin being there for 19 years, he should have a nice tree, because don't let a coordinator get free under Sean McVay. They quick to scoop them up. Almost the same thing for Kyle Shanahan. It's just those head coaches, they haven't been with their franchise. McVay been, but I don't think McVay made it a decade yet with the Rams. But Tomlin, almost 2 decades, and his coaching tree is that small. That kind of shows, like, okay, how are you? We over there talking about the quarterback position. How are you actually developing potential future head coaches? So that's just looking at the same coaching and his peers, but but I still think he's a good head coach. He's an excellent head coach. It was interesting, though, during his tenure with the Steelers, how the national media, they praised Tomlin more than anybody, while the local
and everybody in Pittsburgh was like, because I've heard to fire Mike Tomlin for the last 6 or 7 years. So it's definitely a difference.
You won't be able to tell this to the national media. They were just gloating and everything about him not having a losing record. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's an excellent, accomplishment. But I'm like, no, if y'all know if this was any other franchise in the NFL and that one head coach and they not have a playoff win in nearly a decade with the various teams they had, they made high number 1 seed and various seeds in between, they would have been just blowing them up. But for whatever reason, it was with Tomlin, it was just always him finishing 500 or better, and they just kept it at that. They kept it with regular season. They didn't go into the playoffs. It was always focused on the regular season. Even though you're talking about a coach and a franchise that's graded on their postseason performance. No different than the Cowboys. No different than the 49ers and the Eagles. They had that lineage, that Super Bowl winning history. So they fan base expect championships.
Right.
But the national media was only focusing on the regular season. That was it. They had like the championship. The playoff performance didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I that's why I think, the top end franchises, I don't think he has a shot with. I think, certainly the Giants or what have you, I think they may be one. Because, again, they've been so bad for so long. If the Jets can get him, they may try to go after him. But, again, they're tied to their guy. So, but, again, let's move to the next block here. And get it to move. So, again, who do you hire as the next head coach of the Steelers? Do you want to get now? Again, the trend in the league now is that you have all these offensive gurus, like we talked about. The Rams coach, that kind of guy. Do you bring that person in? Do you bring an experienced veteran in, or do you bring, like I said, one of these rising offensive defensive coordinators? Go to the college game. Now, I like if because the owner today, he was talking about someone who can command the locker room, leader of men, that kind of thing. I was liking the guy from Freeman from Notre Dame, but I think he's already said that I think he's committed to Notre Dame for the foreseeable future. But who would you guys think? Now the Steelers. Then the owner said, "Look," because he was asked this question: "Do you think you need to go to one of these offensive guru types? Because that seems to be the trend." And he basically said, "Look, for the last 50-something years, we've done well drafting defensive coordinators." Because all three, Noel, Cowher, and Tomlin, they come from that tree, young defensive coordinators. So they may want to go in that direction again. I think it was mentioned earlier about Brian Flores. I wouldn't mind that. He was with the Steelers that 1 year, so they got a chance certainly to look at him. So I would even put him maybe as a favorite. I mean, now again, I don't know what his situation is with the league as far as with the coaching. With the lawsuit that Brian filed with the league, but the Steelers, certainly I could certainly see that happening. So what would you guys? But if I was going to do a long shot, I'd say Freeman from Notre Dame. If you want that youthful guy, motivator of men, if you want that kind of guy in your program, I could certainly see something like that. Or I could see a Brian Flores. Give him a chance back in the league. I think even Trey said earlier, I think Flores had, I think he said he had an 8-3 record, I think in the playoffs. I believe he had said that earlier. So, so I'm open to those two. Those would be like my front runners. But again, with that lawsuit, that could damage it. But I think the Steelers, I think they could be rogue enough to do it. So what say you, Coach, on who do you think could be the next head coach of the Steelers?
Pittsburgh's identity has always been its defense. And just for me, I think Flores would be a good candidate, but also a rising star. Pittsburgh, they have to get younger. They obviously need a quarterback, which Shador would be a nice fit, but we'll see in the draft. They still going to have to get offensive coordinator. So,
well, they're going to, obviously the whole team's going to be scrapped. The offense, because nobody from, I don't think no one from Tomlin's tree is going to stay there.
But not necessarily, though, because if you get a young coach, he still needs experienced coaches to sort of, be that space. But I do believe, as far as Pittsburgh, the defense has always been a staple. I don't know what that draft is going to look like this year because they made the playoffs, but they're going to need to draft very well at every key position. Haywood is older. They need.
Yeah, he may retire. Yeah.
They need quarterback. They need running back. They need.
No.
They
got a nice duo. You don't like that duo?
They didn't do it in the playoffs, so it don't matter. They didn't run the ball. So if you're not running the ball, something ain't right. I think the running backs can do it, but that's, again, a lot of that comes from the play calling. A lot of times you throw the ball on first down, get a yard, you might as well hand the ball off. And sometimes, to me, offensive coordinator guru rising star head coach and draft. That's it.
Yeah, I'm kind of here. Yeah, drain the swamp. The only guy I like is that guy Danny, the special teams coach. He's funny. He if you want to keep him, he can stay. But yeah, everybody else, they can they can go. But I like Danny Smith though. But but that's another story. But Shawnee, your thoughts on who you think should be the head coach? Again, college game. Some people say that the Indiana head coach, who's going to the national championship game. He's been considered. But what say you?
I think they're gonna have to go for a rising star, because they're an older team, they're an expensive team, so they're gonna have to do all type of, I guess, cap manipulation and all that, and then you gotta figure out the missing pieces and finding the quarterback and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think a coach like a good coach who's currently looking, or right now, I was trying to think of some good coordinators. They respective teams for the most part. I don't want to say locking them up, but they, I don't see a lot of them besides Flores, and there's some other ones. But you have to look at that current contract deal. Mm-hmm. But I think as far as Flores, he shouldn't go to Pittsburgh. A better spot for a good coach is Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Atlanta has young talent. They just need somebody. They need to figure out what they're going to do with their quarterback. I know Penix, but Penix is almost like a ticking time bomb. Mm-hmm. You keep having these knee injuries. Cousins, I've been hearing.
But that's the thing that you say it's a good spot, but again, there's a lot of insecurity at the quarterback position, and they're not going
to. That's just quarterback position.
But you got to start with that. I mean, if you're talking about you're talking about a prime spot, you got to have a quarterback.
Pittsburgh is missing their quarterback in multiple positions. With Atlanta,
I get that, but you're saying prime position, like that's. Like I said, Pittsburgh. That's a rebuild. Everybody knows that. That's going to be a rebuild. Everybody knows that. Atlanta, you can't say that's a prime spot when you got so much inconsistency at quarterback, though.
Yeah, but you can draft. You can just find a focal point on the drafting a quarterback. But they got nice young players on defense, excellent skill players on offense. They have the framework.
Yeah, they probably got the best running back in the league. Yeah,
they have to find a quarterback. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, they got more. It's almost like you're going to have to clean house. Potentially, that's what you're gonna be flirting with. You're not cleaning the house with Atlanta. Let's try our best to find a quarterback. If Penix is healthy by next season, I don't know what his recovery thing is. Fine. Or I say Atlanta needs to go make a move for Mac Jones. Then that can be your quarterback in San Fran because he's about to get paid. Mm-hmm. And cause I think Cousins. Don't give him Cousins money because you already made that mistake one time, and he immediately went to go draft a
Cousins is the GOAT. I'm sorry, Kirk Cousins is the greatest contract guy of all time. Got the most money for an average skill set ever. He's the GOAT in my view.
But if I was Flores, I would go to Atlanta because remember you still got Raheem Morris, who I believe is a decent head coach. Like I say, with Atlanta, I think that whole thing with them signing Cousins and then immediately drafting Penix. And I remember how the owner was asking them questions at that draft. I think that kind of that put them on the plank.
Right.
And then they see that they finished well, and so he just said, "Okay, we got to make."
But see, I can't. Yeah, but I can't take Tomlin though because again, the record and the mindset. Look, he may get them in the playoffs, but again, Arthur Blank's been to a Super Bowl and lost the worst Super Bowl loss in history.
Tomlin going over. I'm not saying now Tomlin can go down there, but Tomlin. I say this: Tomlin, Flores, Raheem Morris. He was already there. That's why he gets.
Yeah, yeah. Which he shouldn't have been. I mean, I didn't agree with the firing personally. I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah, and right now those two, Harbaugh. Those three, if they want to go to a team with young talent, and then I believe Atlanta, if they can get one of those, especially Tomlin or Harbaugh, because you already know if you bring those two head coaches, your fan base already know we looking at Super Bowl. That's the only. That's the only.
By
direction we should be going.
by what measure?
But
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying,
Tomlin,
based
we just
on
started. He hasn't won in 10 years in the playoffs.
I know that, but I'm saying based on the cachet that both of those coaches will be bringing, obviously they are well respected in this league. I know they playoff record is, but both coaches' playoff record is not the greatest, but they're still good coaches.
yes,
So if you're gonna bring those coaches to your franchise, let's do everything we can. The
Yes.
main position we need to make sure is because we have the young talent on this team.
Yes.
We just need to solidify our quarterback position because right now it's a big X factor. Penix may be that dude. He's just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, I'm with Trey here. I mean, like I said, I respect. Like I said, going to a basement team. He could have went to like New Orleans. He could have went to the Giants. He can go to any
Kellen
bottom
Moore
dwelling
doing well,
team. Yeah, even the Browns. I think he would make the Browns, a 10-7 type of team. But can he take you over the top?
Yeah.
I don't think it's in him to do because
Yeah,
his
but
record is what it is.
But right now, Atlanta is not Atlanta isn't a team that's like on the brink. So they're still a young team themselves. But you still need
That QB. So I agree with that.
You need a coach who can steer them in the right direction, and I believe Tomlin can do that as long as he hires. Like I say, Tomlin already mentioned he's not going to be coaching in 26, so we
Right.
don't know how that roster going to look like 27 and beyond.
Yeah.
But for next year, I say either Brian Flores or John Harbaugh. But I think if they bring in Harbaugh, you already know, okay, Harbaugh has experience in this league. He's successful. We know it's no different than when the Cowboys brought McCarthy. McCarthy
You're
only
saying
won one
Harbaugh
time.
when he had your guy, your favorite quarterback, you're the president of his fan club, and he couldn't do anything with him.
Mr.
And now
Bennett,
you're saying if he goes
it
to
ain't no
Atlanta, he's
Andy
going to do
Reid
something
out
with
there.
Penix or anything else.
It ain't no Andy Reid. It's the reason why these dudes are fired from their respective organizations.
Right.
You keep looking for like an Andy Reid or.
And Patrick
I'm just saying, you just made a case. You just made a case for Flores or Tomlin or whatever or Harbaugh. Harbaugh had a dog. Harbaugh had, in your view, the best quarterback in the NFL, two-time MVP, and he couldn't do anything with him.
Remember how Flores got kicked out of Miami? So it's not like you have these Bill Belichick prime years in New England available. You just have good head coaches. They all got fired from their respective. Who are you gonna get? Brian Callahan, who was let go and.
All I'm saying is you had a two-time MVP and couldn't get him to a Super Bowl, and now you think you're going to go to Atlanta and take that team to the Super Bowl.
But Brother Bennett, just to throw it out, I'll use Buffalo for an example. They doing the same thing, but the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens are doing. Their coach ain't gonna win no Super Bowl.
Look, we don't know that.
Same thing.
All we know is he's got a game next week, and the other coaches don't. So we got to see. And he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes in the way. So again,
nobody got Patrick Mahomes, brother.
so I'm saying, so who's to say that this won't be the year? We just gotta wait. We gotta wait at. But one last point, just as a FYI, as it stands currently, Spoelstra, believe it or not, is the longest tenured active coach. So Harbaugh's out, now Tomlin's out. So again, the longest tenured active coach in sports. I thought that was an odd. But again, some people could be asking the same questions. So why does he still have a job? And when's the last time Miami's been relevant? But but certainly that's another story for another day. But at the same time, I thought that was an interesting spot that he currently been the head coach since 2008. So why, especially with Riley being the GM there, I'm kind of shocked at that. But he must really like Spoelstra. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But moving on to the next block here. So again, Tomlin is simply just part of the wave that has taken place certainly in NFL. NFL set a record this year, the most coaching firings in NFL history with 9. All right, so you see the guys there listed. So there's a lot of coaching vacancies. None of these have been filled yet. And someone mentioned in the chat maybe Mike McDaniel going to the Steelers. I don't know. I'm not sold by him. He looks like a college professor more so than a football coach, but that's just me. I don't know if he has necessarily the goods, but certainly there's a lot of vacancy. And shout out to our guy KP from KC who was in here earlier tonight. The biggest head scratcher. This should have been 10 because I don't see how Zach Taylor kept his job in Cincinnati. If anybody was going to get fired, I would think him. Certainly, I didn't think Raheem. He had that team moving in the right direction, and he still made a move. But again, Zach Taylor. I mean, where have they been? So he should have been added to this list as well. And he's the only coach surviving out of the AFC North. All the AFC North coaches got fired except Zach Taylor. So I'm thinking, what's going on there? But in any event. But this is the current situation. So again, a lot of teams going to have some questions here. Out of this list, do any of these guys get picked up by another team? I know you said Tomlin possibly to Atlanta or Harbaugh, but does Raheem get a spot or Mike McDaniel? I mean, who gets off the bench or the coach experience, and who gets a job next year, if any?
The first three, Pete Carroll, I'm pretty sure his head coaching days are over. Jonathan Gannon and Brian Callahan, no. Especially Callahan. I mean, they kicked him out so early. Brian Daboll is an X factor. I think Brian, he's a good coordinator. And sometimes it's no different than, what's his name, McDaniel with New England. He tried that head coaching, and people found out you were a better coordinator, Josh McDaniel. So he's having success there. I think Brian Daboll, there may be a team that may get him, but I think if he don't get any head coaching looks, he needs to go to a team. Hell, what I say, I put it like this. If John Harbaugh, like I say, Tomlin not in 26, Stefanski is a good coach. Remember, he's a 2-time coach of the year.
Although I think he might have hurt himself with his handling of Shador this year, though.
Yeah.
Does that hurt his resume or doesn't hurt it at all?
I say this: Harbaugh, go down to Atlanta, if available, hire Brian Daboll as your OC, and I think you will start seeing some improvement with that offense. And and then you have Mike McDaniel. Hell,
he's never moved me at all.
But he's a good OC. He's a good offensive.
Yeah, but as a head coach, you're the CEO of the franchise.
Yeah,
I never saw him as that.
Yeah, all these dudes not gonna be head coaches. I think as a Texas fan, I would like to see them they would hire Mike Daniel, let the current OC go. Mike Daniel, he would be again. He's also one of them dudes from that Shanahan tree.
Yeah, I even heard Robert Saleh. He may get a job again.
Robert Saleh, I think he had a bad end of the stick, and
anybody with the Jets. I mean, the Jets.
Yeah, you start to see that with Aaron Jones, and what I'm seeing with that is sometimes you got to be careful what team. Cause it's only 32 of them, so if you are a head coach and you're trying to get a coach, you can't turn them down.
Right.
But sometimes there are teams out there that almost like kind of set you up for failure, and that's the Jets. You want the head coaching job, but you already know there's a strong chance that you're not going to be successful. And then after that, it kind of puts a black cloud over your head because people are only going to remember your lack of success with the Jets. So they're not going to be looking for a head coach with you under there. They say put you in a coordinator.
But I think people understand the Jets situation. I mean, that's
come on, man.
They haven't had any success since Rex Ryan. Man, so
well, what are we talking about though? It still comes down to the coach getting the players and the players playing up to that ability. Because we've seen teams, the Bengals, we've seen teams who had bad seasons for years, and the coach come in, he changes the culture. So the Jets' job was no different than Chicago. It's still the same turnaround that comes with the climate of the coach. I think now, today's game, what I'm seeing, the defenses are not the problem. It's a lot of the the inability of a lot of the quarterbacks, because in college you got this run and shoot style. Then the NFL, they want you to be able to read defenses and pocket pass. As far as head coaches, I think Stefanski can go to any job and have success, any team that he goes to, because he's an offensive-minded coach. I never liked Brian Daboll. He was a scrub for the Giants. But some guys make good coordinators. Mike McDaniel, he could make a good coordinator.
I can see that. Yeah, I just don't see him as a CEO. Yeah.
I mean, but the coach is just the GM's the CEO. The coach, the coach is just trying.
Well, he's the CEO of the locker room.
But not necessarily. That's why they got captains. The coaches just come in. They're not running the locker rooms like high school. It's all compartmentalized. That's why you got assistant head coach, offensive. They have coaches for that. And you're
the face of the organization. You're the one you're the one out there with those press conferences every week before and after games. GM's not supposed to be heard from.
But I'm not always the one meeting with the offensive line. I'm not always the one meeting with the kickers. See, the head coach is different, and that's why they have those coaches. But it's a lot. I think there will be some of these coaches who get a job and hire some of these other coaches as their coordinators, offense or defense. I would say the NFL is going to go younger. I think they're going to give a lot of younger guys opportunities, because we've seen what team is that. It's a team they have a newer coach, but I think going forward, it behoove anybody to sort of get a job, pair up with somebody. But
right. Do any of you guys see anybody from the college ranks get one of these jobs? Any hot?
Besides Freeman, because I think he mentioned he's going to stay in Notre Dame.
Yeah, he's going to stay. Indiana.
Well, again, you don't think Cincinnati coach? You don't think Indiana coach can be got?
He hadn't said anything. I think he may take it.
I don't see why, because he right now Cignetti is turning a basketball school around. Just stay there and enjoy the success, because right now Indiana, depending on how this season finishes, they gonna get recruiting there now. So just stay there, because you already in the Big Ten, so it's not like you're in a small conference. Just stay there, and you could potentially be responsible for making this program now a powerhouse in college football. If you can sustain success and how your recruitment go. I know some coaches be always looking at the NFL as, because they want to try their shot at the highest level. But the way college football is, man, if you having that much success, I'm gonna say just stay there. Other than that, I can't think of another head coach to go from the college to the pro.
Hold up, Shawty. Hold up. I'm gonna throw Deion Sanders hat.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna throw his hat in there. I'm gonna throw Deion's hat in there.
You want me to go to Cleveland?
He has too much health issues.
He can go anywhere.
I know, man.
He can go anywhere. They'll be all right.
No, get your health right. No, your health is your wealth.
Why come he can't go coach with health problems?
I don't know what's more. I think coaching NFL versus college, even though with the portal and everything else, I think that's orders of magnitude more difficult and more stressful. So I can't see that.
But coaches do it all the time. A lot of coaches do it all the time. He has all the time connected. Go from college to the NFL.
And most fail. You only got a couple who've done that. Pete Carroll and but that doesn't happen. Even Saban, he tried and he went right back to where he was. So
most of the coaches that played NFL have success. The ones that just coach, it's a 50-50. Most coaches that played, they have success. You can look at it down the road. Even today, every coach that's played, they have success.
Right now, if you're talking about going from the college head coach position to the pro head coach position, we brought up names like Freeman and Cignetti because they experienced good success at the college level. Prime, he brought some excitement back to Colorado, to Boulder, because they haven't seen that in a while, because before he got there, they only won one game. But it wasn't like he brought like sustained success to them. They didn't win a bowl game so far. And since his son left, that team is just bottom. So I can't see NFL teams thinking that they're gonna hire Prime. I see people talking about he can go coach in Cleveland. Prime said he wouldn't mind coaching his son again, but other than that, he said he doesn't want to coach in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But other than that, he got too much health stuff going on right now.
I'd stay away from that. But let's move on, guys. Certainly, so we got continuing playoff games coming up. Just to give you some stats on the quarterbacks that are still in here. So again, we got some new guys certainly coming in. With certainly May and Williams. To me the big ones. Again, but this should be. I mean, Josh Allen. He's got a shot at, will this be the final year that he finally breaks out and gets that in there? I see a lot of these young guys coming in on their rookie deals, and all these guys looking to get on the left side of the ledger. So, certainly it's going to be very interesting, who comes out on top here. But I think all these guys are on track to get paid. Even your guy Stroud, again, inconsistent and whatnot, but he's going to get a decent haul, especially once we get into the next block when we talk about.
I got some stuff to say about Stroud, but
okay, we'll get there in a minute. Shout out to our guy Anton, college coaches that were successful in the NFL: Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer, and Pete Carroll. If you want to, I'm sorry, Shawnee, you would know this more than me. I don't know if Switzer belongs in that list, quite frankly. He was basically gift wrapped the team from Jimmy Johnson and those guys, and he just tried to keep the guys out of prison or out the White House, basically. But I don't know if that was after I saw that Jerry Jones documentary a few months ago. I don't know.
Switzer got that opportunity because he was very successful at Oklahoma as a head coach. So all these coaches, Anton mentioned, Jimmy Johnson, Switzer, and Carroll were very highly successful at the college level. Sanders is not there, and then right now Sanders has not even nowhere accomplished anything. He can't even win a bowl game yet, and the only chance he had of winning a bowl game, was with his son, and they still got blown out by BYU.
Yeah.
So now it's just not even the team can. I think they won 2 or 3 games last season.
I mean, Colorado, I think they got decisions to make. Do they want to keep him? Because I would, if Franklin, for example, if Franklin was maybe still available, I know he got picked up by Virginia. I could certainly see swapping Prime out for Franklin or something like that. I just don't think he's, this is just a different level here. So I would
right now, Colorado just enjoying at this present moment, they just enjoying the extra money that Prime is bringing to that Boulder area. Because right now, we got to see with the new recruits for next season, but they made a complete 180 just from the time his son and Travis Hunter left the team. They are nowhere near that right now. They are literally probably at the bottom of the Big 12 now, and I don't see it getting any better. He already losing players in the transfer portal, so as high as they enjoyed it.
That's why they need to go ahead. Go to the NFL because Marshall Faulk took another job too. So
my bad. Yeah, correct. Virginia Tech, not Virginia. Stand corrected, Anton. Thanks for the clarification. Let's move on. So let's talk about the games. I mean, obviously, this was with the exception of the Steelers game, for about 3 quarters or whatever, a very exciting weekend of playing. Let's just start with the Steelers loss. Now, again, this Houston D 10 in a row. This defense is legit. Now, again, I know we talk about defenses. I know we talk about the 85 Bears, who I still think is the most overrated team in NFL history. Yes, I'll say it. Shout out to our guy Hink in the basement. But yeah, the 85 Bears, overrated. Only went one time to the Super Bowl. Never went back. Got blown out by Miami that same year on Monday Night Football. So again, when you met a good offense, you didn't show up. But again, that being said, you got the 85 Bears. You got the 2000 Ravens. You got the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers that had average quarterbacks. Now, again, I know, Shawnee, you got some things to say about Stroud. And, yes, certainly, didn't have a great game. However, can Houston make a legitimate Super Bowl run? So I'll give you the floor. You can talk about Houston and their prospects as far as going all the way. as well as any comments that you had on Stroud in this game. So I'll give you the floor.
Well, as far as the Houston's defense, I always believe if the offense can give them 17 points, I think the defense can take them. They can hold the rest. And the thing about them going to versus New England has holes in their offensive line. And this is not the team that you want to see if your offensive line is not premier. Because they will, and they don't. You saw what they did against Pittsburgh, and that's what they did. They did the same thing against Buffalo. That's what they do. That front four just get after you. They don't need to be blitzing everybody else. Their defense they are excellent at all three levels: defensive line, linebackers, and secondary. And so the only thing about it is you have to have a premier receiver, and you can get them down the field through like real good route. That's why they had trouble with Jackson Smith and Jigma when they played against Seattle. But if you are a good receiving tight end, like Trey McBride gave them fits when the Cardinals came. Brock Bowers, and then actually I forgot the Raiders running back name. He was able to take advantage of it because they was focusing on Bowers when they played the Raiders. But I know the Patriots have Hunter Henry and whatnot, but we'll see. So the defense, yeah, they can do that against anybody. I mean, I'm talking about all the rest of the teams in this playoffs. My thing is, though, you can't expect them because literally with the Steelers, once the Steelers scored that 6 point, they didn't even get in the red zone no more. They literally kept them out. They couldn't.
Yeah, and one they had a gift. I mean, but the turnover. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah,
and after that, Houston just okay. I think at that point, because at that time, Stroud, who had 5 fumbles, lost 2 of them, and then he had an interception. At that time, because it was 7-6, and it felt like if Steelers scored a touchdown, it almost would be game over with because the offense was just so. I mean, it was stuttering.
Yeah,
and then
and that's why I kept waiting for it. You're right. I was waiting for it. Okay, one play,
Yeah.
DK, like one pop, and then you're there. But it just got, and when it got away, it just went.
Even when the Texans scored the field goal to make it 10-6, you still think, okay, a touchdown.
Yep, same.
But the defense, I think, at that moment, was like, hey, man, which I'm pretty sure they always do, because if you have a good defense, they always go into the game like, we don't expect you to score on us. But they was like, we have to shut them out now. And at that moment, you saw the defense take over the game. That's when they had to scoop and score from the fumble recovery. Offense added a touchdown after they just started running the ball because they was averaging 6 yards a carry. Woody Marshall was averaging 6 yards. So they just started running the ball. They just basically took the ball out of the hands of Stroud, and he was making timely throws. Christian Kirk came up huge. But my whole thing about with Stroud's whole thing was his rookie season. Because remember, he was drafted number 2 after Bryce Young. And people was looking at Stroud as the better quarterback of the draft because it was like, Bryce came out struggling in Carolina, like many number 1 overall quarterbacks do, because you get drafted by a bad team. And he had that. He started out the gate hot, and then he had the sophomore slump last season, and then he keeps sliding down this season. The fumbles that he had the last game, that's a blip to me because he wasn't fumbling the ball like that during the season. I look at Stroud like as I play. Stroud, the one thing as I watch him during the season, he gets very antsy when the pressure comes. It's like his brain, he starts rushing. And I posted that, I put that, I think I shared that in our chat. Like I saw this during the season, and the same exact things I mentioned, antsy in the pocket. You saw that exact same thing versus the game with the Steelers. His passes, he keeps, for whatever reason, he will miss wide open receivers. His passes keep sailing on his receivers. You saw that when they tried to score at the end of the first half. Collins was wide open, and all he had to do was kind of just dump the ball to him, but he put it on the line and it went over his head. It was a play like that versus Tampa Bay early in the season. What?
Coach about to lose his bond here. Let Coach get in here.
Like I say, I've been watching him doing this all season. It's not just from the game, the playoff game.
No, I ain't talking about that.
But before then, you want to take this on, Shawnee, before we go to Coach?
What's that? Do I think?
Oh my God! Nah. 1 minute.
Nah, he wasn't. There was no injury about. He was nah.
All right, I got it.
Not reported. It was just not reported. But
all right, let's get Coach.
Yeah, Sonny, man, let me go first next time. Man, I don't need 5 minutes to explain the issues with the team or how it went down, because again, the Texans, their defense is one of the hottest young defenses in the league, and that's always going to keep them in the game, especially when the season changes. They've proven that they can win in cold weather. So just through the playoffs alone, New England has a young team also, and just in reference to the game, it's going to come down to the defenses. Both quarterbacks are young. They both go make some mistakes. I think by Houston playing in Pittsburgh, it sort of gave them a better feel for the cold weather. Tom Brady made a great point in when you're throwing the ball in cold weather, you want to hold the tip of the ball down in a sense, so when the trajectory, the wind won't hit it and take it up. So I think those can be adjustments that's made. But you're going to see two former players coaching their teams, and it's going to be a high caliber game, probably be the best game of the playoffs so far. But, Stroud, I think the best thing that happened to Stroud was the fact that he had a concussion. It's like that concussion sort of put him in a different rhythm of the game. But again, I would hope I hope he does well, going throughout the playoffs. But, this is football, man. That's the thing about it. We thought that Jaden Daniels would be the man, but we see what happens. It happens to the best of football players, especially a quarterback. But I think he's settled in a little bit more. Stroud has. I think he's going to perform well throughout the rest of the playoffs. Again, I think one of their receivers is injured, tore ACL or something. So that could be a different dynamic going up in New England. But
right. But you guys don't answer my question, though. I'm asking the question, given everything you're saying about Stroud, whether he's got concussed, he's injured, he got whatever, can this defense, and I would say there's a huge difference between May, even though they're young, May's an MVP candidate this year.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if they go in there and they stifle New England, because I don't think Knicks. I mean, he's good, but I mean, if I don't think that's impossible. So again, can this defense, like the '85 Bears and the 2000 Ravens and the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, can they win a Super Bowl?
Yes.
No changes, as is. Can they make a run?
Yes, I believe if the Texans offense can give them 20 points, the Texans defense can shut down any team left in this NFL. They've shown that. They've shown that. They the only team that's left that gave them fits that scored, I think, over 20 was Seattle because of Jackson Smith and Jigma. Even though the defense, I think, forced 4 turnovers that game. But yeah, they can. Offense have to play complementary football. They can't make mistakes. Like I say, I don't, as wild as the game it was for Stroud versus Pittsburgh, those fumbles are not the thing that I look at, because I think all season Stroud only had like 2 lost fumbles. Again, my thing is, from watching Stroud, like I said, I followed the team, so I've seen how he was. He came out the gate on fire his rookie season. So, of course, everybody was like, oh, how he's going to be his second season. He didn't perform as well his second season, but, you can't – I wasn't really expecting him to. But he had, people thought, okay, he went through the sophomore slump his second season. His third season, is looking worse than his second. Like I say, because I'm watching, he is not the same quarterback. His timing is rushed. I put it like this: you have C.J. Stroud, who's QB1 on the team. Davis Mills is QB2. I can put Davis Mills at quarterback right now, and the offense will still look the same. It would look the same. Stroud, he's QB1. He should be outperforming Mills. But when there's a hole, it happened in the game. And with the Steelers, if there's a hole, Stroud is mobile. He can move. But even when a hole opens up, when the pressure gets to it, he doesn't run. That is why those fumbles that he had, I do put on him, because he'll still try to throw the ball, even though the pressure is all around him, instead of just going down for the sack. So that is Stroud in a nutshell, as far not the fumbling, but his decision making. This is a thing that I've been watching over the season. I'm like, dude, you have regressed since your rookie season, to the point where his contract right now goes through the 2027 season. So I'm like, let him play out his contract. Normally, a quarterback's, that second contract is their mega contract. That's when they get the big money. So that's when the team's got to make a decision. At this moment in time, if Stroud continues on the trajectory that he's in, on this little slide, I would not re-sign him to that big contract. Maybe franchise tag him, but because I'm like, dude, you have rescinded, and watching you, I'm seeing you don't hit your receivers as much as do. I don't know if it's the missing of Tank Dell, because him and Tank Dell had a real good connection. But remember, Tank Dell last season went out with a knee injury, and it just, I don't know if that receiver alone, as affected his numbers, because him and Tank Dell was one of the main, and of course Nico Collins was one of the main reasons why he started off his rookie season so hot. But watching Stroud now, he is not the same quarterback as his rookie season. I don't know what's going on. He basically needs to slow himself down. It seems like he's rushing. And I've been seeing these things throughout the whole season. I think now people keep saying Stroud because they think of Stroud his rookie season. Get that out.
Well, again, I'm not putting any confidence in Stroud. That's what I'm saying. The deep, can you get an average? Can he be average?
He can lead that offense to 20 points. Like I say, if he can get them 20 points, the defense will take care of the rest. That's against any other team in this.
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah, the question is not about Stroud. The question is outside of Stroud, can the defense carry them? I think they can. And like I said, this game with May, if they can hold May in check, then I don't think I can't see anybody beat.
They're going to put pressure on May. Now, May is more mobile, of course, than Rodgers. But the thing about it, you saw in the game, even when Pittsburgh tried to hurry and get the ball out of Rodgers' hand on the screen pass, there was a Texan defender right there. So what's your running back name again? Because he was actually the Steelers running back.
Oh, I'm having a brain freeze.
Yeah,
Stillwell and Gainwell and
Gainwell.
Yeah,
Kenneth Gainwell was actually performing well towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
So you look at Gainwell, because the Patriots got Stevenson and Henderson. Both of them are real good receiving running backs. But again, Houston, you saw how if they can apply that kind of same. If you see the running back leak out, they've shown that they safeties and they corners. The main thing about the Texans defense is they corners are willing to hit.
Right.
Usually they don't. Texans corners are willing to hit.
Yeah.
So if they do that, they can kind of. It's just May he's going to have to be the difference maker. He's going to have to take the gaps when he sees them on his legs and fit it in some tight holes. But like I say, if the offense can give them 20 points, I believe the defense will be able to hold their own, and they can take the win.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next game. So, again, more questions here, certainly for the Eagles. Again, I think most of us, I know I picked the Eagles certainly to beat the 49ers. But, again, offense had problems all day. Certainly A.J. Brown picked a bad game to have so many drops. And, so they're moving on. So, again, I don't know where Brown goes. I don't know what team would want him, if he's looked at as a cancer to the team. And again, I know, Shawnee, we talked about Jalen Hurts and whatnot and all that. Look, first of all, Jackson is not in the playoffs. I mean, you saw the drops. If you guys want to make excuses for Jackson, I'm making an excuse for Hurts. I don't think his offense served them well. Penalties, he had big-time runs, callbacks, the holding calls and whatnot, so all kinds of things went on. But again, if you and Dante want to call Jalen Hurts game manager and all that kind of stuff, okay, you can do that. But clearly things were off with this game. A lot of drops by the receivers and whatnot, and San Francisco moves on. I don't see them advancing past Seattle. I'll say that right now. Yeah, I know we're going to get to that block with our picks, but your thoughts certainly on this game, and you have your your pound of flesh here if you want to tear into Jalen Hurts. But go ahead.
I'll let Coach.
All right, go ahead, Coach.
Man, San Francisco is the luckiest, weakest team in the NFL. Philadelphia, they play calling it was a lot of bad things happening in the game, man. I don't think they was as focused as they needed to be. I don't think the head coach calls the plays anymore either. So, it is what it is, man.
Right on cue. Here's Dante. Game manager, but I know you love your guy Jackson, though. I love you.
He's going to get picked up. He still has the ability to play. I don't think the system sort of favored him in a sense, but he's not a number one receiver anymore. He is a number two. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. Just reference to the game, man. It was a good game, man. Penalties are always going to hurt you in the playoffs. But yeah, San Francisco, they have some good spots, man. But I don't think they're gonna beat Seattle. Seattle looks, they look a lot different.
Right, got it. Shawnee,
I think I see Billy mentioned AJ is a cancer. Now I don't think AJ Brown is a cancer. I think what he said, what he was alluding to majority of the time during the season, it ultimately he was proven right. I think majority of the season, A.J. Brown his frustration was because the offense was not clicking. They was not, he was believing we can do more, we need to do more. And he was just frustrated, he kept doing them cryptic tweets. But he was just saying the offense we're not good enough yet. And that was his whole thing. Do I think he will be back on the Eagles next year? I don't think so. My whole thing about with Brown, though, you brought a lot of this attention on yourself because you kept, even when they was winning, you still was putting out these cryptic tweets and whatnot, putting this attention on you. And then basically, when your team needed you the most, when your number was called in the game, you did not deliver. I could say anything about Jalen Hurts or anything, but when your number was called, and that was multiple times, it wasn't just once,
right?
Like 3 or 4 times, you did not deliver. So whatever you was meaning with your tweets, and you gonna bring that attention, or you want to put out a message, that your offense could have done more, and we need to improve, because we're not there yet. All I can remember is that game, in this game, because Philly had their chance to win this game, and they at times they went to Brown. He did not deliver. So, but even with that, to me, this just shows how much they miss Kellen Moore. When Kellen Moore left and went down to take head coaching with New Orleans, all 3 of their big players' performance dropped. A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts. And then now you see their current OC, they already fired him. So I put it like this. I agree with Dante. Jalen Hurts is a game manager because he's so mindful of taking care of the ball. He's not an aggressive quarterback. Kellen Moore is an aggressive OC. That's why you saw a more aggressive Hurts at times last season. If you do not give Jalen Hurts an aggressive offensive coordinator, he's just going to go back and just protect the ball. That's how he's been like that pretty much since he's been in the NFL. But if you give him a more aggressive-minded offensive coordinator, you will start seeing Hurts be more aggressive. Take take shots down the field more and whatnot. Because naturally he is just, I want to take care of the ball. And then that's when you start seeing like pundits on TV saying like, the offense is kind of boring. He's not going to be doing, a lot of the splashier plays, really challenging DBs down the field a lot. But you did see that with Kellen Moore. But all of a sudden, Moore leaves, they go right back to, because this is the Jalen Hurts that we was kind of seeing before Kellen Moore. I know he had that big performance in the Super Bowl and they lost against the Chiefs, but many times it's just, Jalen Hurts protecting the football, not really, the long game is not as used as much as other franchises. And you saw that up to, I know, Saquon had a career year last season, but they were still doing in the air too. And then all of a sudden Kellen Moore leaves, they revert right back to how they were. And it's just, that is why A.J. Brown was so frustrated during the season, because they have talent. We're not doing enough. Because remember, during the season, Eagles was finding all these unique ways to win. And they could have had more losses on their record, but they winning because they blocking the last minute field goal or other stuff. And it was just like a ticking time bomb. Like eventually, these bounce of the ball is not going to go your way. Offense going to have to really be, putting up numbers. And you saw that in a game they could have won against San Fran. Ultimately, the offense just kind of ran out of gas, and you saw the rest. So I was trying to look at, because this is going to be the third time that the Seattle and 49ers see each other this year. I know Seattle got them pretty good the last game. They beat Seattle at Seattle the first game of the season, 17-13. So I think under normal circumstances this will be a good game. But San Fran, because remember they lost Kittle.
Like Coach, and it's weird. It's like every time they played the Eagles in the playoffs. Remember that? I don't know if that was the NFC Championship game or whatever, where they didn't have a quarterback. I mean, I think everybody went down in that game. So it's like same thing here. It's like they're limping across the finish line, trying to get past the Eagles. So that's why I'm not optimistic about those guys moving on. But let's move on to the next game. So again, we talked about May and the Patriots didn't look that impressive against San Diego. I mean, I keep saying San Diego, L.A. There. So certainly now they're going to be going up against this Houston defense. We'll see. I mean, I could see that score right there being flipped, where it's Houston 16-3 over them. But we got to talk about again Justin Herbert and, for that matter, Harbaugh. Is the Harbaugh effect wearing off, or is Justin Herbert's talent being wasted by not necessarily having a good head coach or OC? Because again, the first coaches he had, very, kind of reckless. We talked about in the chat, always going on fourth down and whatnot, and necessarily not put him in the best position to win. He had that big lead against Jacksonville a couple years ago, and he lost that game. So again, is Herbert, is he overhyped? Is it the coaching? What is, what do you think is going on with San Diego? Can they get over the hump, or what's missing with that team? I'll start with the coach, and then we'll go to Shawnee.
I always thought the Chargers have been soft. They've been a soft team for a while. I mean, again, when that weather changes, man, it's always going to change the game. And teams tend to rely on quarterbacks too much, too early in the game. A team scored one touchdown, now they're all of a sudden the other team offense, they just want to pass the ball.
Right.
It's a 4-quarter game. And
right. Well, also remember they took points off the board early on. They got that early turnover. On the 10-yard line. But Harbaugh goes for it on 14. Can't get it in.
But that's part of making the decision. You can do that and still recover. It's just that teams just tend to always rely on the pass when really you should at least balance it out. And when you drop him back, and teams, again, New England has a good defense. They're young. They're just like the Texans. New England has a defensive-minded head coach who can motivate his players, just like the Texans. So I would, yeah, the Chargers didn't really have a chance because they went right into pass mode, and when that's what defenses want you to do, start passing the ball, and because they're going to just rush, and you saw what the results were. So,
Shawnee?
Well, because the Chargers got a good defense themselves, but I think the Chargers' fate was sealed when they lost Rashawn Slater early in the season. They left tackle, and they are similar to the 49ers. They lost key players. I just mentioned they left tackle. They rookie Marion Hampton, who I thought was going to have a solid season. He missed a big stretch of games during the regular season. I think when he came back, he just wasn't the same. He didn't have that burst like he did before injury. So I just think, and then of course Herbert, he playing with a broken hand. So they just came in there and just limped, because you saw it like that second half, especially that fourth quarter. It looked like the Chargers' offensive line, they just, as soon as they hiked the ball, they just stood up. And the way that they just kept, at one point, I think Herbert, he got sacked, and he was taking a longer time to get off the ground, but he stayed in there, and then almost immediately they sacked him hard again. It was just that offensive line was just shot, and I think that was the biggest reason why Herbert it was like once the time was getting down, they had to start throwing the ball. His offensive line did not help him at all. So it was just I think they was almost like the AFC version of 49ers, but I think a lot of their stuff was that front line plus the running back. I think Hampton played, but he just wasn't the same. And yeah, because like they said, their defense was holding the Patriots pretty good until Patriots scored that touchdown. It almost would kind of remind me, just going back to college football, when Miami beat A&M. That was a defensive battle, and then Miami was able to score that touchdown at the end of the game, and A&M just didn't have no more. They just didn't have enough time. Yeah, and that's how, when New England scored, it's just like you saw. It was just the Chargers just couldn't get back. But yeah, that offensive line I think was the biggest. I think Herbert is still the real deal. I'm not saying he's gonna win a Super Bowl, but I think he's a good young quarterback. He just, it's just something. It's always seems something always going wrong with them with the Chargers. I don't know. Yeah, it's just they got a black cat up there.
Gotcha. Moving on to the next hand. This was certainly one of the more exciting games over the weekend. Again, Buffalo pulls it out, goes to Jacksonville, and again, is this going to be the year for number 17? Is he going to be able to pull out? I mean, he did what he had to do. I mean, that was a very competitive back and forth. You see all the lead changes in the game, and they pull it out. So I think Buffalo's a live dog, and I think certainly they stand. I'm almost liking them. I know I talked about Houston. Can they make a run? But I think Buffalo, I think this is their window. I don't know if they can do it after this, but certainly I was very impressed. And they were able to pull it out late in the game. So Shawnee, your thoughts on this one? This was certainly one of the more exciting ones.
Yeah, it kind of went the way I was alluding to last week. I was like, Jacksonville is a good team, but just like how in the past we was giving the Chiefs the leg up because of their quarterback, because you figured there's going to come a time when Mahomes was going to get the ball late, and he's going to make the plays to lead the Chiefs to the victory. It'll be a low margin, but he'll ultimately make that plays. And that's how I believe, because the Chiefs, when they won the Super Bowl, they played against teams that were better than them for the most part, but they always had the edge at the quarterback position. And that's how I looked at it when it was the Jaguars and the Bills. I believe the Jaguars were a better team than the Bills, but they have the edge at quarterback. And you saw exactly what happened. Josh Allen led them to. Now, one thing, if y'all remember that play when Josh Allen, cause you remember right before he did the tush push, and they got nearly 10 yards on him.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
And the clock was just barely over a minute. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, cause it was first down and goal. I'm thinking, cause I believe they was going to be able to score. Just run the ball and nail it right at the goal line, so you can basically end the game in your possession. But they went through it. You saw Jacksonville basically let them score. And but the defense made a play because they ended up intercepting the ball to seal the victory. But yeah, they just what do you say? Jacksonville should be ashamed of themselves. They had this game, but they met players. I don't think they should be ashamed. It was a good game. It's just Josh Allen just turned to Josh Allen. Like I say, he was a better quarterback. Yeah. But it's just two good teams going at it, and then when Jacksonville got the ball, they only had a minute left, and then it's unfortunate that the first pass that Lawrence threw got tipped and intercepted. So, but I don't think they should be ashamed. It's just it was a good game versus two good teams.
Yeah, Coach.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you as far as Josh Allen's window. This would be the optimum time to try to make it to the Super Bowl. I think he has the most experience, if I'm not mistaken, as far as the quarterbacks. They do have a balanced team. I think their team is well balanced from what I've seen. So again, man, but who's to say? A play or two here or there, late in the game, a turnover. As long as Josh Allen don't try to do too much, I think they'll be okay. But again, it's the playoffs, man. There's no guarantees. You got to play the full 60, man. And the team that does that, I think that they'll win. The team that plays through the entire game.
Gotcha.
Now,
and shout out to that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I will, because Buffalo about to play Denver, and Denver almost reminds me of Houston. Their offense is not the greatest. They just have a good defense. And I believe if Josh Allen and the Bills can put some points up on them early, I think it's going to be very challenging for Denver to mount a comeback. They can, but they don't. It's not that they have an explosive offense. They just play complementary football. They just have a good defense, and they try not to do nothing to put that at risk. But I think if the Bills can put some points early, the Bills' defense can be, they float sometimes. That's maybe the X factor in that game right there.
Yeah.
They may make the Broncos' offense come to life. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think if that game comes down to who has the ball last, I'm picking Allen. He's certainly proven he can certainly lead a team like that, and I think and that to me, that's the difference. Like when I talk about Lamar Jackson, can he do that? Again, if Josh Allen, if he can deliver there, I mean, that's the type of game that I think Lamar has to have. He's like a front runner. He'll get out in front of you. Will he take you, down and lead a team to victory? Now, again, the missed kick against Pittsburgh, you can say we led him in position to win that game or whatnot, but we'll see if Josh can certainly deliver in that game. But shout out to that sister in Jacksonville. I don't know what's going on down there with those folks. All she tried to do was just encourage the head coach. And apparently all the Jacksonville media just went after her for whatever reason, just because she said, keep your head up. And everybody wanted to take her head off. So I don't know. But shout out to that sister for dropping some positive vibes.
That's crazy.
People get a life.
The coaches were appreciative of it.
That's what I'm saying. But everybody just went after her. And she was just, she was just trying to encourage the young man. So
ain't that what they tell you, Sonny, when you come off the field, man? Keep your head up. Ain't that what they tell you? Ain't that what that's the language of football and basketball? And man, keep your head up. You good?
Yeah.
I guess it's just maybe an unwritten rule or code or something within the media. You cannot.
It came from a woman. That's why they was.
You can't, especially immediately after a playoff loss, you can't be positive.
Yeah, she was. You
gotta start pointing fingers at somebody to blame. You gotta start pointing fingers what went wrong.
Yeah. Moving on to our next game. Again, this was also a very exciting game. Certainly Green Bay had a hand, but again, the Bears shout out to Caleb Williams. We all know that's Hank in the basement's favorite player. I actually followed up with him. I actually followed after the game. He's like, "Oh well, that second half defense, that's what won us the game." But I mean, your boy put up points. I mean, so again, I don't know. Hank in the basement. He is the biggest Bear fan / hater I've ever seen. I mean, how somebody roots? It's almost like he's rooting against the Bears to lose. I mean, when you got this guy Caleb, he's delivered this year. I mean, give the guy some credit. He had the throws at the end of the game to win it. So shout out to them, Green Bay. Certain Love, he did his thing. So I mean, he had four touchdowns, no interceptions in the game. I mean, he played well enough to win the game. But Caleb came up with the big drive at the end to take it over. So again, very impressed with him. And I'm rooting for him. Hank, you need to join the club, man. Get on this train, man. I don't know why you're hating on your boy. It makes no sense to me. But if you're watching out there, give that man some respect. That's all I'm saying. But Coach, your thoughts on the Green Bay Bears game, and what do you think Caleb Williams? I mean, what do you think his trajectory is looking at? Is this second year? Playing very well. What's the ceiling you think on this guy?
That's why I don't believe in that sophomore slump mess, right? Because clearly we see a player who had the skills, got an offensive-minded coach early in his career, and we're seeing the success and the growth at the same time. Because early in the game, he was struggling. He was clearly frustrated. He was making dumb mistakes, but that's part of the game.
They have an inept head coach also.
But with consistent play calling, running the ball, play action fakes, and a defense that's playing great team football, you saw the outcome. And again, football is a 60-minute game. Unless it's the last 5 seconds and the team is taking a knee, that onside kick is important. It goes down to the end because I thought it was a great game. I thought Jordan Love did a lot of good stuff. But again, the defense and Chicago, it seems like they were amping up each and every level. Every time Green Bay scored, Chicago would just turn it up another level. And to me, that's what you want from a young quarterback. Because remember, everybody was talking, oh, he ain't really that good, But with a great offensive-minded coach, you see the results in a short period of time and no sophomore slump. Mm-hmm. So salute to him.
Yeah. I know Time, shout out to Time for being on tonight. I know he's talking about, again, they can't afford to get down to the Rams. I don't know, because honestly, and again, I got to give credit, I didn't think this game would be watchable. Shout out to the Panthers. I know there's no such thing as moral victories. I didn't give them a chance in this game at all. When I saw the early score and whatnot, it was almost how I predicted. They looked awful in the game before against the Bucks, and I didn't think they'd have that kind of fight, but they had the game late. Rams go down and score a game-winning touchdown to win it. But I think the Bears are a live dog in that game. And I think that the Rams, they just haven't been. I mean, they've kind of been a bit on a losing streak, and they were on the verge of losing this one. So I don't know what's going on with that team, or at least defensively. They've been giving up a lot of points as of late. A lot of points to Atlanta, and prior to that, Seattle. And then you're going to give all these points up to the Panthers, who, like I said, they looked inept in their game against the Bucks, who is a depleted team. So I'm not sure, what's going on there, but what were your thoughts on this? But again, kudos to the Panthers, for hanging in there, making it a very competitive game, and certainly it was way better than I expected.
Remember, the offense started showing some inconsistencies when they lost Adams for that 3 or 4 game stretch.
Right, true.
So, once they got him back, you see the offense really put up points.
But I'm saying, but the last game though against the Bucks, they barely showed up.
Yeah. Because I don't think Adams. I don't even think. Oh, you're talking about the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Panthers. I thought they was a solid team. I thought you had to respect them, especially if you're going to Carolina, to Charlotte to play them. So they already gonna be on home. They have home field advantage, and you're gonna have to respect them because I believe they compete very well. And they did this game. They had a chance to win it until the end, but I believe that Rams were always going to be the better team or whatnot. I think with the Rams though, they got to clean some stuff up.
Yeah, their defense has been
yeah,
non-existent the last few games.
Because I think this was the game. This was one of the games where the Panthers only won 9 games versus a 11 to 12 win team.
Yeah,
and they the home team. That I believe as good as the team the Panthers were this season. They surprised many people. I believe that the Rams has had more weapons, and it almost kind of gave them. Even though I believe Bryce Young played well that game.
Yeah,
Bryce Young played well that game. But I believe it's not like the Panthers or whatnot had an explosive offense. Even though they put up 31.
Yeah.
But I think the Rams was just able to make mistakes and get away with it at times. And obviously you ain't gonna be able to do that against Seattle. You're gonna have to execute. Execute the best of your ability, because if you make a mistake with them, they're gonna capitalize. And then you're going to find yourself, remember, I think in that last game versus Seattle, they only scored 3 points. So I still believe the Rams can come out the NFC, represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Because if they clicking. And they can beat any team in the NFC. Is it a matter of they kind of play down to the competition? I don't know. We're going to see. But the only thing about it now, though, they playing a team for the 3rd time. So that's hard. You're talking about teams that know each other. Throw.
Well, when you say 3rd time, no, they play the Bears.
Who is Seattle playing?
Seattle's playing San Francisco.
Oh, that's a team. It's 3 NFC West teams, and that's the team I'm thinking about playing for the 3rd time. And I'm thinking of Seattle. The 49ers scored 3 points against them. I believe when the Rams had that shootout in Seattle, and Seattle came back and beat them late. But I still think the Rams, they still can represent. Hell, if they win this game, Seattle played one team for the 3rd time. If they meet each other in the NFC title game, they're gonna play another team for the 3rd time.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think the Rams have the talent to come out that conference. They just have to execute better. It's all about execution for them. Now, going back to the Bears and Caleb Williams, I believe Coach made a point where, because he started off, his rookie season. I think Stroud, Daniels, for whatever reason, fans has got this expectation now that quarterbacks should just come out the gate fine. That don't happen. That's why they made it a big deal when Stroud did it in his rookie season. That don't happen. And then to follow up with Daniels. But I always say this is why you don't let fans be GMs. They will screw up a team. It's a reason why Caleb Williams was the number 1 overall pick. The Bears was not that team. That's why they had the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
They was a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
He went to a bad team. They struggled.
Mm-hmm.
They went to go get a head coach who many of us believe was going to at the least turn that offense around.
Mm-hmm.
We knew what Ben Johnson was going to bring when he came there. Now we don't know if it's going to always lead to wins, but we know immediately that offense should be improving, and that's exactly what it did. Now is it like a lights out offense? No, but you have seen Caleb Williams since the beginning of the season. As the season progressed, he progressed, meaning he is getting more comfortable in that Ben Johnson system. And you see it in his play. And then even to the point where he can even lead his team back to win games in the 4th quarter. So he's going to give his team a fighting shot. So, Much props to them. Like I say, you listen to fans after that first year he struggled. They were talking about, basically getting rid of him already. But this is why you don't let fans run your team. You drafted him for a reason. You had a plan. Obviously, the plan wasn't including whoever the coaching staff was. That's Eberflus. And you saw what happened when he went to coordinator for the Cowboys.
The Cowboys, yeah. He might be done. He might be out the league.
Yeah, they saw him the exit door too.
Yeah, so he might go back to high school or college or something. He needs to go. But Coach, let's get you in here, and then we'll start getting into our picks, and then we got to cover the college. So, your thoughts on this game, Coach?
Again, I thought it was another great game, man. I thought the NFL, did a good. It's probably one of the best years that I've seen from start to finish that teams are fighting to the end. It's been a very competitive playoff so far. I think it's going to get better. Sometimes a veteran quarterback who's been there, sometimes it usually just happens like that. Matt Stafford and Allen. Ain't they they the longest tenured quarterbacks that played in the playoff game so far?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Again, man, I'm excited to see Chicago. I'm excited to see them play.
Right.
The Rams, because one, we know it's going to be a shootout. And so, but again, we're coming back to cold weather. It's going to be interesting to see how the Rams fare, in this cold weather. And we saw with Seattle and San Francisco, I think that's going to be another shootout.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be.
I don't know. I think Seattle, losing Kittle, I don't know where they're going to get the firepower from.
San Fran lost Kittle. Yeah. So,
So that's going to be that's going to be a tough
one. But they got
one.
They at home, though. They close to home. See, to me, a lot of you're going to see a lot of San Francisco fans ride up at Bay to come to that game. So
it's hard to replace Kittle because he's, like you talking about, a utility player. Kittle can literally do everything. But the one thing they back up Tonjes could do, he is showing he is a very good receiving tight end. Because the game where they beat, I forgot, late in the season, Kittle hurt himself, then he missed the next game. Tonjes got the start. He played well. He got like over 70 yards receiving, a touchdown, and all of that. Then he showed up the last game, after, coming in for Kittle. So anything, that offense shouldn't take, as far as receiving-wise, it shouldn't take a dip. Now, when it comes to the running game, like I say, Kittle he do everything. He can catch, hell of a blocker. I think his blocking may be the best asset he has. Mm-hmm. So that's going to take a dip. So McCaffrey's going to feel that, especially, I know we was talking about the Houston defense earlier. Seattle not too far behind them. And you already missing a blocking talent like that on the end. And you going to go to Seattle to play them at Seattle?
We'll see. We'll see. Before we move on from this, what would you guys think? I didn't, honestly, I don't know a lot of the backstory, but people made a big deal of the going back to the Bears-Packers game. The handshake, no handshake at the end of the game. There was that. It was I guess what Ben Johnson used to work for the Packers. Or something. I think I didn't get all the context there as far as what was the beef there between those two.
They already owed division route because Johnson's time was
I think he got word that he said something. The Packers coach just said something, and but that's part of the Bears and the Packers. Rivalry.
I know people like that, so hyping it up.
And I think when Johnson got the job, he made it clear that he didn't like, LaFleur. So
gotcha. All right. Let's get into our picks. So these are the divisional games coming up this weekend. So we'll go quickly through our picks, and then we'll talk about the college part, and then we'll look to close out. So again, the games. So again, you got the Bills and the Broncos. You got San Francisco and Seattle. Those are the Saturday games, and then Sunday again Texans and Patriots, and then the LA Rams and Chicago Bears. So let's just start with the first game, the first set of games here. So again, who you got? The divisional games on Saturday between these two. So we'll go with Coach. You can give your two picks now. If you want to give a score, That's fine. I don't have the stats and spreads up, but if you want to just give you a gut on who comes out of these two games here.
I'm gonna go with the home teams on both, and 7 points or less for both wins.
Okay, gotcha. Shawnee?
I got Seahawks and Bills.
Yeah. I'm rolling with that too. I think again, Josh Allen. I think again that window is closing, and if he brings that kind of thing, like say, don't give him if he gets the ball back with 2 minutes less, with a chance to win the game. I think he's in that kind of mode now where I think he wants it. So again, I would certainly give him that. And again, I think San Francisco. I think they're just too beat up to continue. So I'm picking Seattle. Certainly to close that one out. Next, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, about on that Seattle game. How do you think this makes? Because I know, I guess they had to pull the trigger eventually, but how do you think this makes Minnesota look like? Because we looking at Seattle, and that means Sam Darnold.
Well, again, they had the first round draft pick. I mean, the fact that they picked McCarthy in the first round, that was going to make that thing complicated. And I don't think, it's very rare you're going to pick a veteran over a first rounder. So I could, so it didn't shock me that much that they let him go. He
won 14 games with him.
Yeah, but you saw in the playoffs didn't show. So they might have thought it was a system QB or whatever. And when you invoice your first round draft pick as a quarterback, that's a tough deal. Unless you won a Super Bowl or something like that, I don't know. I don't see how you I don't see how you walk away from that. It didn't shock me that they let him go.
I just take the Packers route, man. Like they sat Jordan Love. If you got some experience, success going on with your current starter.
But again, he's replacing a starter, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get what you're saying because going into that year, I don't think they even had a quarterback, right? I mean, someone got hurt and they drafted.
He was going to be the starter, and then he got hurt, so that
right.
opened the door for Darnold.
Well, yeah. So again, it's not like, but you talk about in Green Bay, they had Brett Favre was still the man. So unless he was, traded or something like that, that wasn't gonna happen. But like I said, it didn't surprise me too much. But I certainly, and I'm still to this day, I'm still pleasantly surprised that Darnold has been able to lead this team the way he has. I was not expecting him to have this kind of season. So I think he's certainly overperforming, and I think he's showing people. So I think really the question on Seattle, are they going to make him the long term? So that's what I see there. But as far as the next games, the Sunday games, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm liking Houston in this game. Like I said, if San Diego's defense can hold the Patriots to 16 points with those edge rushers and whatnot, I think Stroud has to play. I think they can afford Stroud to not have the best game. I don't think the Patriots can afford for May to have a bad game. And I think Houston, they can certainly force that. So I'm picking the away team to win. And as far as the Bears and the Rams, you know what? I may roll with the Bears because again, the Rams have shown their defense can't stop anybody. And again, if it's a tight game like before, you give it in Caleb Williams' hands. I'm going with the upset because I have no faith in the Rams at this point that they can stop anybody. So that's my assessment. But Coach, your thoughts on these two games?
I mean, just real quick, the more I look at this New England and the Texans game, it's gonna be a good game, man. Both defenses are solid. I'm just gonna go with the home team with that game just because of the weather. I always think that plays a factor at this time of the year. Chicago Rams, again, I'm going to go with the home team. Both games under 10-point wins, but yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. You got two offensive gurus, man, with the Rams and the Bears. So whoever's defense is clicking, they're going to have to win the game for them. So.
Gotcha. Shawnee?
I respect the Patriots defense, but like I mentioned, I believe Stroud can lead. The thing about the Texans, whether it's Stroud or whoever, they do kick a lot of field goals. So if they can just crack that 20-point mark, 20, 21 points, I believe the defense can handle their own. So that's why I have give the nod to Houston. Now, if they having a hard time putting up points against New England's defense, who also have a good defense, 'cause I believe they top 10 in multiple categories. 'Cause I think Houston's X factor is that run game. 'Cause their run game is inconsistent. Sometimes they get good, sometimes they not. So it all depends if that offense can just they don't have to put up a lot of points. Just put up about 20, 21 points and let that defense, take it away. You mentioned about the Rams defense. The Bears don't have a good defense. The Rams have a good defense. They have a good D-line. They could put pressure on Williams. Like I say, if the Rams are clicking, I could see them representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. If they're clicking, sometimes they just have these moments where it's just like they may have a good game, and all of a sudden, that game versus Atlanta, that's still a mystery to me. Like, even though that cost me personally, it cost me in my fantasy. I still don't know what happened. I'm like, what is this? Matt Stafford had the worst game by far this season. But the Bears don't have a good defense, but one thing they can do is force turnovers. So that's the great equalizer right there. You may be moving the ball on them, but all of a sudden they get that turnover. And you saw with the Bears, the Rams may be controlling or as far as the lead majority of the game. But if the Bears are in shot in that fourth quarter, then, because that means they're going to start attacking that Rams secondary, which I believe is their weak point. Then things can get interesting then. So I have the Rams. But if the Bears are anywhere in striking distance in that fourth quarter,
yeah,
that that little win probability you be seeing sometime on videos, how it goes.
Yeah.
You may see that with the Bears again, just start slowly rising each possession they get in the fourth quarter.
Right. And Caleb, he's showing me he may have that factor, man. He can have a bad first half, but the fact that he's able to put it together when it counts, that's that's something. He may have that it factor there. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm picking, like I said, the road team upsets. And but definitely, certainly looking forward to a great playoff weekend. And certainly for those who've been with us tonight, we really appreciate you guys hanging with us. Yes, we talked a lot of NFL. Sorry to our guy Anton, no hockey tonight. Apologize for that, and definitely no basketball. Like I said, I can't get into basketball until maybe April, May. It's too many games, and don't even talk about baseball. So I can't even go there. But let's move quickly. Summarizing the college football playoff weekend. So again, the number 1 seed Indiana, extremely dominant. Certainly didn't see this coming. Very dominant win. Not much to be said there, but certainly looking at the current draft order, the Raiders have the number 1 overall pick, and your thoughts, Shawnee, on this QB. That's I was hoping Dante could be here because I know you and him differed a bit on Mendoza's prospects in the NFL. He looked pretty dominant. He made all the throws, certainly in that game. Very impressive. He looks like a number 1 to me overall, and I think he certainly has a potential. In fact, because I'm not just looking at this year, I'm really not sold. Everyone was waiting for this quarterback class. I know the Oregon quarterback is going back for another year, so I don't know if this is going to be necessarily an elite quarterback class that's coming out this year, and Manning's not coming out until 2027. So I think he's clearly going to be the number 1 pick, Mendoza. But your thoughts on him at the NFL level? So I'll give it to Shawnee and then the coach.
Well, okay, remember Mendoza played. I think last year at Cal. I think he only threw 14, 16 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Transferred to Indiana. Next, he's throwing over 40. So he obviously him and Coach Signetti, they clicking. Mm-hmm. The main reason I believe, I don't know, I'm not saying he's going to be an all-pro talent, but I think he's going to be a really solid pro. Mm-hmm. And his biggest thing, What I'm seeing, because you saw that with his numbers, because he has like a over 70% completion percentage while attacking downfield. He's not a dink and dunk quarterback. He will attack
Right.
downfield and still completing over 70% of his passes. That and what I've been watching him, because it's still Indiana. It's not like they are always, unless you constantly watching their games on the Big Ten network or whatnot. But I'm seeing his ball placement. This dude is accurate. The time.
Now it was
that
nice.
has-
He made the commentators after the game. He made every
that-
NFL throw in that game.
That back shoulder, it reminded me so much of Dez and Romo. That was their bread and butter. And I'm seeing that back shoulder, him and his tight end. I was like, this dude is on point with that. I mean, you saw one of them, the back shoulder throw was so accurate, the tight end just called it because it went right with one arm, right there in the basket with one arm. And that was it. So the accuracy, his throwing talent, that is why I'm like, if you put him on a good team, I can see him being a very solid NFL pro.
Yeah.
He may have a couple of Pro Bowls on his record. I'm not saying he's the greatest prospect to come out, but what I'm seeing is this dude can throw the ball and he is hella accurate.
Yeah.
So,
and prototypical quarterback by 6'4", 6'5".
Exactly.
So
he has the intangibles, and he can move. He's not Lamar Jackson, but he's mobile. He can move around. But as far as Indiana and just these playoffs, I was like, dude, I think Indiana right now, I can't remember the last time a number one seed entering the college football is actually looking like the number one seed.
Yeah.
Remember, I think last year, I think it was Ohio State, but once the competition started getting tighter, the games started getting tighter. Indiana's like, we are number one, and we about to show it. They ran through, they had a bye week, the first one, ran through Alabama, completely dominated at the line, and then when it looked like Oregon, they scored the first touchdown, it looked like they had, we may be different. We scored the first 7 points of the game. Indiana said, man, that's enough of this.
Yeah.
just proceeded to dominate the rest of the game. I know Oregon scored some points late, but that's what they say, that's window dressing. That was like, like fake.
Nah, it was crushing. Like I had no idea. It was a very dominant. One of the more dominant runs. I mean, you think about those Alabama teams back in the day, how they would kind of run through the to their championship or whatnot. But this is one of the more dominant runs that I've seen. And but we'll preview that in a minute. But Coach, your thoughts on this game, and as far as what's your thoughts on Mendoza? Looks like the Raiders. You would think it's a no-brainer for them to pick him number one in next year's draft.
It's Indiana's team, man. They the team, and you hear it in their, living in the state and hearing, a lot of the interviews, man. This is a team that's on a mission. Players who have been pushed to the side, and there was, let go from the other teams or whatever happened. These players are bonded together beyond the coach. You can't get no better football team than that. Now Mendoza, he's almost damn near 30 years old. He's been in college 5 years, 6 years. So he's going to show a little more maturity.
Yeah, we see it. I mean, we saw Bo Nix last year, and even with the Saints QB, he's older and he's.
But this is the benefit of NIL too. I would recommend you go to college today, you get an NIL deal, keep your ass there and let them make you $1 million. Then if you got a shot at the NFL, take it. So I that's the one thing about it. But if barring any injuries, major injuries with Indiana, I see them running through Miami. Miami's a good team, but I think Indiana's playing with a chip on their shoulder, and that's a dangerous team in college. As far as the draft, Mendoza, he's definitely gonna go to the Raiders. Geno Smith ain't, he ain't the future. But anywhere he go, I think, except I barring the Titans, that would be a bad draft pick. The Browns will be a bad draft pick. The Commanders will be a bad draft pick. The Saints. The Chiefs, I would know. The Bengals, no. So the top three, he can go anywhere, including, the top three would be his best. Anywhere he go, he's going to start.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
believe
certainly, I mean, Vegas and Arizona, they got some major cleanups to do. I mean, they got to pull a whole coaching staff together. So this is going to be a very sensitive situation. And would Mendoza want to go there? I mean, some of these guys
Yeah.
are like, I'm
You're
not going to
a
certain
rookie,
teams.
Brother Bennett,
The Raiders have been
nobody-
dysfunctional for a long time. They've had, I showed a stat, I think last week, they had like 15 head coaches in the last 10 years, some crazy numbers. So again, would he want to go to them or the Jets, quite frankly? Would he want to go to a dysfunctional franchise? And if he's saying, look, I'm not going here, who's going to stop him? So I think, but a lot of these teams, they got a lot of messes to clean up. Look, half the teams on this list are getting all new head coaches. You know what I mean? Cleveland, the Giants, Arizona, the Raiders. I mean, there's a lot of things to consider before you even talk about the draft. But I think Mendoza, he's not a question mark. I think he will not be number one. And I think he certainly has the tools to succeed at the NFL level. But the last block of the night, certainly Miami, again, exciting game, come from behind a game against Ole Miss to win it. And unfortunately, I got to listen to the Cowboy Michael Irvin and his antics and whatnot. He was a lot more tame after this game. Maybe someone talked to him about, we don't need to be taking belts out in fake whipping people. We don't need that or whatever. So he was a lot more reserved in this last game. So he didn't go too off the cuff. But shout out to Miami, and the game is in Miami. Certainly. I guess we started kind of getting into the picks a little bit here. Shawnee, what are your thoughts on this game? If you have anything to say on this game, and then we'll get into our final picks here, and then we'll close it out.
Oh, between Miami and Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was a good game. I think Ole Miss had a chance. I know there's people that controversial last no call.
Yeah.
In the corner end zone, because it was definitely contact, holding, and all that. But sometimes it's just weird with the referees, man. Sometimes they want the player to determine the game. They don't want to, get involved, which I do appreciate. But if it's blatant, you have to call it.
Yeah.
So we watching the game, we seen it both ways. Sometimes, man, just stay out of it. But sometimes you be like, you should have called that one. But other than that, it was a good game. It was definitely a good game. What's his name? Chambliss. He was trying to apply for medical 6th year, but they got denied.
Yeah.
So I believe Ole Miss will appeal it, but as of now, it looks like he's ultimately going to join the NFL draft. He was trying to come back and do another season, but right now it's been denied. But other than that, it was a good game. And I think what hurt Ole Miss was when their starting running back, after he had that long touchdown run. Because if you remember, on that run at the very end, he slowed down.
Yeah.
I thought he was starting to kind of get, he was kind of showboating, but I think his hammy started giving issues, Lacey, and I think that's why you didn't see him for the rest of the half. You saw him again in the second half, but I think if they had him more, this game could have been different. But they lost him because that hamstring started acting up on him, and that really affected some of Ole Miss's running game. Because at that point, he was doing what he do. That's why he broke off that long touchdown run. Yeah,
for sure. Just want to, as we come towards the end of the show, one thing I did want to ask you, we talked about a little bit in the chat. This, for some reason, like I said, I've just certain things you just don't notice. But I talked about, and this picture is kind of an example of that, especially when I watched the Indiana game. It's like these guys are playing in shorts, like literally. Like the full knee is exposed, no knee pads, no high socks. And I'm like, for some reason, like I didn't pay attention all year, but in this game, so it's like, with it just seems like that's just the new trend now. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, because you played in the games where you were fully equipped, especially knee pads was like a thing, but now some of these guys aren't wearing thigh pads, and it seems like that would put them in peril. But I was like, why are these guys playing in shorts? I mean, socks used to be certain programs. You had to have your socks all the way up and, a certain uniform code or whatnot. But your thoughts on that, and then we'll get into our pick. It's just something I just wanted to kind of get off my chest because I just came back to remembrance. But your thoughts on that, Shawnee, and then Coach, your thoughts on this new trend with players not protecting their lower bodies like back in the day.
I think it's just style. It's just style of the young. It's no different than the young folks today, even down, especially down here in Texas. We see it in the summertime. You see young kids walking around here with Letterman jackets on or hoodies. We were like, ooh, it's 97 degrees outside. And they still, it's just style. I mean, it's just,
so you don't think so? Do you think there's a practical use for it playing-wise?
I mean, obviously, your leg kind of feel freer because I remember always twiddling with the knee pad, at times. But for the most part, it's just style. I mean, I'm pretty sure these players, especially Zero, I'm pretty sure his cleats are all spattered up as well. Yeah, it's just style.
And these guys are playing on carpet. I mean, I know this isn't like the artificial turf of the '70s, but I'm just saying,
mark if you rub it.
You want to get those carpet burns and whatnot. Yeah, but Coach, your thoughts on any? You got any thoughts on this before we close up?
The first thing I'll tell my players: put your knee pads in your pants and put your knee pads over your knees. Mm-hmm. Because we see injuries with knees are fairly common in the NFL. Some injuries you can control, some you can't. But over the course of a season or a couple of years with that pounding directly on that knee, it could make it a little weak. But again, this is college. Everybody, it looked like he cut his pants. It looked like he cut them.
Yeah, but like I said, if you remember the Indiana game, everybody, shorts. The pants were well above the knee. It's like you wanted your knee to be exposed. I don't recall. I'm thinking, is this summer? Is this like practice and you guys practicing in the? That's what it looked like,
Yeah, and again, like Shawnee said, it's just a trend of the game and the players, somewhat of an evolution of it. But I don't know, man. It's hard to say. The turf is a lot more cushionier. You see players.
Yeah, like I said, it's not that '70s AstroTurf. That's
they don't have it. I don't see people. I see more little strawberries on the arms than I see on the knees today. Mm-hmm. So again, shout out to the technology of turf, man. All kids play football. Put all your sons out there. Let them play on the playground and fall on some concrete. Then take them to some turf and tell them which one they like.
Before we end tonight, I want to give certainly shout out to our guy, again, number one supporter of the show, our guy Anton, $20 super chat. We appreciate it. Taking Miami, Florida over Indiana. Hurricanes have proven to be dominant road warriors in the college football playoffs. Now that the final game is on the Canes home field, those dogs are hungry. # all about the U. So again, your thoughts, gentlemen, on this matchup. So we'll just do that, and we'll close out the show. So we'll start with Coach. Your thoughts? Who wins this game? You muted, Coach. You muted.
Go with Indiana by 10, man. But I think it's gonna come down to the fourth quarter too. It ain't gonna be no blowout like it was last game. I think Miami's too high power for that. They have a great defense, but I'll give Indiana the win just because of their determination that they seem to be focused. So we'll see. But the weather's nice. You get down to Miami, man, Florida, man. You get out there and see some of them bikinis, and look, it throws you off sometime, man. But Indiana seems to be a team that's on a mission. Everybody that has been interviewed, their focus is the championship and playing together. So salute to them.
All I'm saying is this: I'm old school. I got a curfew. I'm like 9 o'clock. I want you in your rooms. I don't want you anywhere near in Miami at any time late at night. So, but Shawnee, your thoughts on thoughts on this game? Who comes out?
I think because Indiana went through an SEC squad and then a legendary SEC squad and then a legendary now ACC team. And I think both of these teams are in the South. I think many of the people in the South, if they pick in Miami, because they just can't fathom Indiana, a basketball school, coming down there and beating them. Now, when we was talking about the NFL, we was talking about the Texans' defense and how dominant they can be. I think the collegiate, like, parallel to them is Indiana. You look at Indiana's defense, and they just as dominant at the collegiate level. And I think even more so than Miami. But it's Indiana. People are not going, hey, what are you doing down here? Because if they win, this is going to be the first. This will be the first championship in school history in football. Yeah. So they're in unknown territory. Compared, you going against a team that's like the Steelers or the Patriots or the college football and the Hurricanes. Their history is rich, and they play on their home field. It's not the fact that they playing in Miami; they playing at Miami, the University of Miami. So we home. Y'all literally coming here. It's almost like Miami is hosting the first round playoff game.
Yeah.
You literally coming to us. And Indiana, like, okay. So I think we about to see, I think people are really as good as the team that Miami has shown. Because, remember, Miami had to be chosen to get into this playoff.
Mm-hmm.
It was between Miami, Alabama, and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And, obviously they making it look like they was the right team to be chosen. But I think Indiana's going to come in there, just like how their coach is, who don't be showing no emotions on the sideline. They just going to come in there and have that same expression when they come into Miami. Because like you mentioned, they look like a focused ball club. And like I mentioned, Indiana looks like the number 1 seed. Right now, it's number 1 versus number 10. And Indiana said, we're going to show you why we are the number 1 seed. And you're going to see, I think ultimately, Miami may have a high in the beginning, but ultimately Indiana is just going to start putting that foot on the neck, and they may end up winning by 20-plus points. So
yeah.
That's what I got on that one.
Yeah, I'm liking Indiana as well. I just think, on both sides of the ball, I think they're the most complete team. And again, they're on a roll. I mean, they're really clicking on offense, and will Miami be able to stop that? So I got them, and I'll take the over 10 points. Honestly, on this one, I don't think it's going to be that competitive. But certainly, great show tonight, guys. Lots. Again, we really hammered with a lot of football. Hopefully, again, once this stuff whittles down, we'll be able to, introduce more topics in and around the world of sports. But again, we had a big, certainly part of the show is all Mike Tomlin leaving the Steelers. Certainly a legendary franchise, and certainly one of the longest tenures in sports history. Certainly comes to an end, and so certainly, really, again, I would say thank you, Coach Tomlin, for your class and consistency and whatnot, and whatever you decide to do. You deserve it. Long break or what have you. You want to, just chill with the fan for a minute, because again, both of you guys sacrificed for the city of Pittsburgh. So I really appreciate you as a fan, and I'm looking forward to this next chapter in Steelers history, where they go with it. Certainly there'll be a lot of discussion, not just for the Steelers, but again, 8 other teams are looking for head coaches right now. So it's going to be a really wacky offseason. Certainly going to the draft, what these teams are going to look like at that particular time. So, but with that, just last comment here from my guy Dante. Again, get well soon. So if Indiana wins this, Tyler will be impressive. But I'm going with Miami with that defense and momentum. Okay, so again, we're split here, two Miami and two Indiana. So we'll hopefully we'll all be together to talk about it next week. And, certainly, yeah, Mike Tomlin will be forever be in Yenza. But again, appreciate you guys being with us tonight. Again, make sure as you leave the show, make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Really helps us out. But again, we appreciate we had a pretty decent crowd tonight. Really appreciate the active chat. And, certainly looking forward to bringing you more content. So certainly for myself, Mr. Bennett, for Shawnee, and the coach. This is the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. For the rest of you, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the games over the weekend. Take care. God bless, and we will see you next time. Good night.